Welcome back. The holiday is meant to be a time of celebration spent with loved ones, but we know that for some it can invoke feelings of grief and depression and stress. So here to discuss some healthy ways to deal with all of those feelings is Dr. Brad Schwall, the president and CEO of the Center for Integrative Counseling and Psychology. Dr. Schwall, thanks for being with us again here today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about navigating the holidays here. One of the things I'd like to hit on first is I think that this time of year tends to bring up, for a lot of people, memories of someone who has been lost since, maybe since last year, maybe for much longer than that. That alone can be a hard thing to get through because so many of our memories around the holidays are so crystallized, and we feel that so palpably when we all get together again.
Most definitely. And it's a balance of acknowledging the feeling, acknowledging the loss, because we can't deny that. So if we have a friend or family member who's had a loss, don't be afraid to talk about that loss. At the same time, we want to adjust. We want to create new memories, new traditions. We want to keep busy. We for sure want to take care of ourselves physically. So our diet and eating well, not drinking too much. So by taking care of ourselves physically, we're also prepared for dealing with those emotions that will come up. So not pushing down the feeling, but if you're newly dealing with a loss, it's okay to keep busy and do perhaps some new things to keep your mind on the present.
And maybe talk about that person, maybe make a toast to that person, that they're sort of there in spirit too.
Absolutely.
So,
Yes.
so let's talk about, because you mentioned diet and you mentioned food and you mentioned busy. A lot of people, it seems like, they put so much work and so much stress into making everything just perfect, just right. And most times it's never going to be just perfect, is it?
Right. You may not hear me say this often because I talk about being kind and caring, but put yourself first. So be your best self. That will help you to have realistic expectations. That will help you to be non-anxious. And that way you can enjoy the moment. So don't expect too much of yourself. Have realistic expectations about what is going to happen. But then most importantly, enjoy the moment. And if there is some stress or conflict, be grounded. Remember to breathe even. But most importantly, do find that gratitude and do focus on that appreciation for who you have around you.
After the past couple of years of pandemic, Dr. Schwall, this may be the first time that some family members are seeing each other again in a setting where so many of them are gathered in a couple of years. And so that can probably maybe bring about some social anxieties there, especially for people who might still be, concerned about the contagiousness of the virus and other viruses that are out right now. And in addition to that, you have these layers of, we're more polarized than we were maybe when you saw some of these relatives last. And some of them are not going to be able to help but bringing up the last election, maybe even the next election. How do you tell people to sort of walk through this minefield, especially if they may already have some social anxieties going back in and getting back to quote unquote normal, but then dealing with those things on top of it?
Sure. Well, we certainly can set some boundaries around conversation. And if we do enjoy having conversation, even when there are differing opinions, we define ourselves. It's okay to share our opinion, but we're respectful of others, and we know when to stop, because we're never going to be able to convince somebody to believe our way. But if we are okay with having a conversation, talking about what we believe in terms of I believe this is important, and then respecting the other, those conversations can go well. Again, have those boundaries. Decide for yourself how you want to enter into being with family. Observe. Sometimes we get triggered and drawn in if we get exasperated by what somebody said. But if we can observe and stay calm and grounded, that can help us to be present in a respectful and also a peaceful way.
Good advice there. Don't get drawn in. Maybe pretend that you're just watching a movie there in front of you and take a deep breath while they're going on and on. Dr. Brad Schwall, President and CEO of the Center for Integrative Counseling and Psychology. Thanks for walking us through it, and happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you.
All right, let's do a quick break right here. When we come back, we are talking about when you might be able to watch Top Gun Maverick at home. And Mariel has our Thanksgiving forecast. It's going to involve some rain, so stick with us. We'll be right back.